All right, friends, thank you so much for joining me today as I talk to you a little bit about what's going on with this new moon in Pisces. Today is a really awesome day. In Burlington, we had a few really exciting victories in local politics yesterday, and there is a feeling of hopefulness in the air, and yeah, I'm excited to get into and talk to y'all about what is going on with this new moon and the different aspects that it's making, and yeah, what that means for kind of our shared energetic context right now. So, as always, if this is interesting to you at all and you're curious about how this might be impacting you personally or just learning about your own chart in general, you can definitely feel free to reach out for a birth chart reading. So, we've got some really beautiful stuff to dig into and talk about today. So, I'm going to talk about this new moon in Pisces, which is the sun and the moon conjunct at almost exact within the next 20 minutes or so will be the exact new moon. It's 10:48 a.m. on March 6th, Wednesday, March 6th. So moon and the sun at 15 degrees of Pisces, making, that conjunction is that new moon there. We've also got Neptune, which rules Pisces, is in Pisces, has been for a few years, and will continue to be for a good while. It's at 16 degrees of Pisces. So the new moon's basically happening on top of Neptune, which just like totally amplifies all of the Pisces qualities, Neptunian qualities of this new moon. So pretty wild, super potent. And then we've got this almost like tethering of this ether spirit energy that is Pisces to Mars in Taurus, Saturn in Capricorn, sort of like tethering or providing a channel to like bring these visions, Pisces, Neptune, ideals, imagination into reality. Which is those earth signs there, sort of anchoring our dreaming and our imagining. And then also today we have, at this exact moment, 0 degrees, 0 minutes of Taurus. Uranus has moved into Taurus, where it will be for the next 7 years. So this is kind of a little bit of a shock to the system. I think that today is going to be kind of and then the Mercury retrograde started yesterday, also in Pisces. So this can be a time of feeling a bit hazy, a bit sleepy, a bit disoriented, your body sort of like aching, and really it's a beautiful day for creating some space for rest, for contemplation, for journaling. Mercury retrograde, Mercury, and in this case being in Pisces, which is already pretty uncomfortable in Pisces. Mercury rules sort of the intellect, rationality, reason, lines of reason, how we sort of think and process information. In Pisces, which is sort of does not communicate in the language of rationality. Pisces communicates in the language of spirit and soul, and through metaphor and through poetry and through music, and it communicates on an energetic level, where Mercury rules communication, actual words, language that we use to sort of communicate on a rational level. So this is going to be a little bit of a time of like super leaning into the unknown right now and letting go. It's been a really intense, challenging year with a lot of upheaval in things that are super close to home, with that really intense pattern with the cycles with the Venus and Scorpio retrograde that had happened, and yeah, it's just kind of been this pretty disruptive year in a lot of ways. Also has been a time of building great momentum and sort of moving forward on projects and things that are important in our lives, with that Saturn and Capricorn sort of steadily moving along, keeping us on track. And so I just really want to encourage us all to lean into this this potential, you know, depending on the makeup of your own chart, if you're someone who has a lot of watery stuff, this can feel familiar. This zone of uncertainty, of endlessness, of mysticism, of magic, of the unknown, and of the imagination, of ideals. This can be these sort of like idealized, imagined circumstances, and it's almost like this little like spark or glimmer of potential that I imagine like really high up above the crown. This is that Pisces sort of spark potential. Like allow ourselves to really go there, to sort of hand over the wheel for a little bit. Like Pisces is like, we are a channel for source energy. We don't have that much control. So, you know, the zodiac sort of maps out these different variety of ways that we do and do not have control. Our ego does and does not have control over what's going on here. So this is definitely like a hand over the wheel a little bit. Allow information, detach. Pisces is detach from our egos, our reputations, and allow ourselves to like connect in with source. Pisces is the last sign in the zodiac. It's returning home. It's returning back to source energy, spreading out, super dispersed. I always say in these videos, when Pisces is involved, Pisces reminds us that we're mainly made up of empty space. We're holograms. We're on a little rock hurling through outer space. Like this is, it's this reminder of this bigger sort of energetic reality that we're in, where things are not so concrete, where things are not so measurable. So yeah, I think some of the potential shadowy components of this is totally disconnecting, totally checking out, totally neglecting responsibilities, accountabilities to community, to family, to partners, to friends, to pets, to whoever, to work. This sort of just like, I can't take it, it's too much. It can be overwhelming, it can be too much, too uncertain, too unclear, for, you know, the rational mind to sort through. The rational mind's just not gonna really support us too much in this next little bit. It's really gonna be like leaning into that poetic, and poetry. You know, I've been reading this book by this woman, Carolyn Elliott, and she talks about poetry is not necessarily, we don't create poetry for it to sort of fit in with the linear systems that we've created and built for ourselves. Like we are artists to give voice to our soul and to communicate the soul's song so other people can hear it as well, and kind of that can wake something up in them as well. So this is this time of just like expressing, blobbing out, like brain blobbing, journaling, like stream of consciousness. Pisces is stream of consciousnness, just letting it flow. So we've got this really beautiful kind of like glimmering, I imagine, just like sort of up above our heads, this like sort of glimmering potential to go there, to really imagine like, what do I want my life to look like? What do I want to call into my reality? Because we have that Saturn in Capricorn that's like, yeah, something, an imagery that I've been thinking of, and this is inspired as well from this Carolyn Elliott book, is around like bringing, it is possible, we don't have to think of like heaven or ideals like in these really sort of far off inaccessible spaces. This can be this time to like bring those potentials to earth. What we have right now, what we have built for ourselves as humans, is a world that does not mirror the needs or the voice of our inner world. In a lot of ways, it neglects and shuts down the emotional, the intuitive, the creative, the artistic, and prioritizes reason and measurability, even though there's, without all of the elements involved in what we're creating, it is inherently irrational. And so our world is inherently irrational and inherently insufficient in providing us with the nourishment that we need to really like tap into our potential and really find our voice and find our gift, find our path. So with this Pisces energy is really an opportunity to just crack open that crown chakra, crack it open, and just like imagine, like shoot yourself out there and imagine what you want for yourself, what you desire, because with the Saturn and Capricorn and the Mars and Taurus, yeah, we have this opportunity to sort of bring heaven to earth, like bring it down. And there's a lot often just about like manifestation, but for real, like this is definitely an opportunity to really manifest what we desire, and not just what we desire in our around what other people have told us we should be desiring or what our paths should be looking like at this point, but more so tapping into like it's really deep kind of soul desire, and that there's a lot of potential to really kind of like get into this like sort of trippy and surreal space, especially with this Mercury retrograde. It's almost like fairy tale synchronicities, this is going to be a time of like understanding and absorbing information that's not like written out in crystal clear language, but more so is coming through in dreams, in synchronicities, in patterns, in metaphor, in rhythm, in music, in art, in poetry, and just sort of letting that really stir things up and letting that like feed us so that we can make this information that we're receiving conscious, and we can manifest things for ourselves and our communities that really mirror what we desire on a soul spiritual level. Stream of consciousness stuff, talking, spending time with friends where you can really kind of like get into that sort of out there space. And then the other thing is this Uranus moving into Taurus, which is literally at 0 degrees, 0 minutes of Taurus right now, which is so wild. This is really kind of crazy. So Uranus is the awakener. And it had been in Aries for the last 7 or 8 years and went into Taurus for a tiny bit and then dipped back into Aries, and then sort of continued its forward motion, and now is returning back to Taurus for the next 7 years till 2026. And so talk about like seed planting, like Taurus is like the actual earth and like planting seeds in and like building things. And so there's this moment right now, I think, where we might be having some of our like illusions around what we thought we wanted in our lives, what we thought was our path, what we thought we were building momentum behind, kind of shattering a little bit. Taurus or Uranus and Taurus can kind of be, this shock to our system, to our physical material reality, to our bodies. Taurus is like the body, our immediate surroundings. And it can bring in some really wild and surprising news. And so, this is not so much a time of trying to control what is happening in our lives, especially throughout this Mercury retrograde, but just leaning into the unknown. Like this is the test of faith, test of, and this doesn't mean inaction and just sort of sitting idle, twiddling thumbs and being like, what's the universe going to give to me? But just like creating that space to really tap in with that inner voice, because the universe is in you. Like I think often we're like, the universe is going to give me what I need. We are the universe. Like we are the mirrors of that. So if there's a way to sort of like any kind of active participation in this is going to be just like creating that space in those circumstances to really kind of like tap into some of this really really lovely, juicy, potent stuff that is available within us. Otherwise, it just can be this spinning of wheels. With Mars and Taurus right now, there's this potential to be just doing some really like solid work, moving a little bit slower maybe than usual, But who knows? With Uranus moving into Taurus too, things could take kind of some wacky turns. So if there's any way to kind of create an opportunity to really reconnect in with source, and remember the bigger picture, this can be very humbling. Can also be very calming of like, you know, we're really all just holograms in this reality that we've created for ourselves that holds so much weight and that has so much pressure and so much shame, is also an illusion. Money is literally numbers in computers. Like these pressures, a lot of them just are not real. So this is also a time of like deciphering what is illusion and what is reality, and what is typically holds weight as reality. We can start to sort of like see through those cracks a good bit. So I'm going to pull some cards just to get a little more information, perhaps about what we can be learning from this new moon today. Also, tonight, if you're in the Burlington area, me and my friend Mercedes Mack are hosting a workshop on this new moon, also on Neptune and the tarot card The Hanged Man, which all kind of relate to this theme of surrender. So that's going to be at Nectar and Root in Winooski. Okay. I'm going to pull 3 cards to start. We'll see how it goes. Okay, the first card. 5 of Pentacles. Oof! That does not look comfortable. We can be feeling overburdened, overwhelmed, too much pressure. This is also just like this extreme amount of outside pressure. So like I was saying, sort of overcoming those societal pressures that we could be feeling, especially around money, and structure. Child of Cups. In this deck, instead of doing the Knight, the Page, the King, the Queen, they do the Child, the Amazon, the Maiden, or the Daughter, and the Crone, or the Mother, rather. So this is like sort of echoes the like Ace of Cups kind of energy. Super lovely, relaxed, soaking it in. Like this is where we want to be, right? Soaking it in, trusting, just enjoy, like thoroughly enjoying. And the Star! Woo! Like, yow, we want to be here, team. Yikes. This is not, a lot of this is, it is both real and it is not real at the same time. So how can we be with our stories in our minds, like giving less power to the things that keep us feeling under pressure and keep us feeling confined, and lean into? So the Star is opportunity, excitement, hope. It's like that little glimmer of hope, sort of pulling us forward. It's also alignment. So we might be feeling this, and this might be really real, really stressful, really exhausting on our systems. As much as we can sort of get in this trusting space, lean into our imaginations, this feeling of interconnectedness, of endlessness, things will align and opportunities will unfold. So I think I'm going to leave it with that today. This has been so wonderful to get to connect with you all, and I hope that everyone can write down some wishes tonight around what they want their life to look like, some stream of consciousness, and see what comes. Learn from that. More is going to be learned from that than any kind of linear thinking. So yeah, that'll do it, y'all. So much love, and see you soon.